Hey, so in this video I'm going to be showing some strategies I use for Lord of Verminion that you could take and try out yourselves. So this is a tournament battle here where you start off with 120 supply. So you can see I start off with two siege types on the left and right crystals. It kind of splits their attention a bit. We have to send something to take care of it, or else I get free crystal damage. I mean, it also taxes your micro a bit too, because you have to consistently send units on the left and right, or protect those siege units. I usually just let them die and replace them, but it taxes both your micro and opponent's micro. But if your micro is a bit better, you could end up on top. Now the opponent seems to have summoned a lot of siege types and a whole bunch of Hildebrands. It's a pretty scary army that can easily pop my crystal if I let him damage my crystal at all. But I have a bunch of trap types and bomb types. So I go in, set my traps, and quickly leave with my Rikus because they're going to die. And I also set up my bombs. You see, you have to be kind of quick with the bomb types because they are very weak and they almost died before I could blow them up. Usually you want to send more than 4. But I was kind of confident, so I usually just send 4. If they kill off one, then you're screwed. But if you have 5 or 6, then if they kill off one, you're not as screwed. You can see how Riku has good utility in that it's also good against the search eyes, so I could easily send it to, after deploying the trap, to the search eyes. And now I have pretty much full control of the field. I have like a better army, a bigger army, and they're still summoning. I have more crystal damage, I have a better spread in terms of siege type units, and now I have some time to reformat my army to be a bit better. Now I see that they're summoning a bunch of Apkalus, which are a pretty tanky critter types. I think right here, if he moved into that crystal, like I was going to run away if he does, but he could take on that army right there. He could completely destroy that army with his Apkalus. But he hesitates a bit. Of course, he doesn't know where my traps are deployed for my Rikus. But right now I feel like I have good field control, even though he has a very strong army. I also start summoning Louisoix. So Louisoix is a pretty situational unit. It's not that good. Healing you think healing will be crazy good, but it's Louisoix itself is very weak. Anyways, I deploy some more traps, and I send my main meaty army in to clean him up a bit. So you can see his army, the colors are freaking tanky. So I just sacrifice my main hitter types to soften them up a bit. But I can easily summon another whole tanky army. Right now I'm changing the constitution of army. Like I sacked it so that I could change it up to more Odins to counter his type. I also know that he can't really move into my crystal without him triggering my trap, so he probably knows that too. So right now I have good positional control here, and more like specialized army. I feel like that. Well, he just has seizure types, and Apkalus aren't that scary. Anyways, I had a free heal, so I go in and soften his army up a bit, because I get if I use the ability, it's basically like I did 3 damage to him, he didn't do any damage to me. I'm also trying to bait his army into my trap. Remember, he doesn't really know where my trap is, so I mean he has to do something sometime, because he's losing crystal health real fast. But anyways, yeah, you can see the trap completely destroyed him. I want to heal my Rikus because one of them is kind of low. And also, you can see how the left and right siege types have destroyed his crystals because he hasn't paid attention to his left and right flanks. Basically free damage. And you can see how Louisoix has good utility, and even though it's kind of weak, they're fast and quickly snipe the eye because they're good against eyes. And at this point I basically won. I think he's completely given up. I just, set up whatever, a bunker in the middle here, and there's no way he could win basically. So that's pretty much it for the first game here. Now this is a more typical ranked point match where you're only allowed to summon 60 points in your first starting set. You can see I do a left and right siege unit and a bunch of cats in the middle, and I also start off summoning a bunch of tanky types. I check what minions he's summoning, and I see that he's summoning a bunch of critters, so I'm going to change my tanky type from Hildebrand to the Odin to counter his critters. But Hildebrand is pretty beefy anyway, so I'll send him in just to soften up his initial army. I see that he sent something to protect against his search eye here, right here, so I kind of run my cats away. I thought he was going to go for my shield with his cats, but looks like the fight's just in the middle. I send my cats to help out the middle fight because they can't really hit his eyes right now. And I also see that he kind of let his guard down on Search Eyes, so I moved my cats to a Search Eyes to try to distract him a bit. Remember, he's summoning some pretty high cost units, so these are also, you know, the other tanky unit. It's either Odin or Puff of Darkness. So I try to avoid his Puffs of Darkness with my cats, but 40 points of cats here is taking up, what, 2 puffs or 3 puffs? So 60 or 90 points worth of minions. So it's a good trade, you know, it weakens his armies elsewhere, making sure my other fights win. But I also see an opportunity here to snipe his eye. I have a bunch of minions in there that are good against Search Eyes, like 4 cats. Hildebrand might be in there, I don't actually know. So his eye goes down really fast, and now I could have a very good tactical advantage against him. It's basically on my favor. Now, even though he has some minions on my crystals, and he's defending the left and right flanks kind of successfully, I have a good tactical advantage which I can now exploit. So I replace my siege units on the left and right. You always have to replace them when they destroy them. Either you protect them or you just replace them every once in a while. I see that he's sending Hildebrands to my Odin side, so I run the Odins away. I don't want them to die right there. And I add some more Nockins into my army to counter the Hildebrands. And Hildebrands are pretty good, you can't ignore them, so you gotta have something to counter them. I also send my cats in because cats are critters and they do a bit of extra damage, like 3 damage. Right now the cats are kind of useless. I don't have 4 cats. They're just there as dead weight. I'm just, you know, using them to tank some damage. But I feel like I have the advantage right now. I have field control, I have the tactical advantage, and I think I have a slightly better army in terms of composition. So he has some Hildebrands, he dances around a bit. He has some Puffs of Darkness on the left there, but I'm not too scared of the Puffs on the ice because it takes forever for a Puff to destroy it. They're not siege types, so I take some time to get a Hildebrand up there. And since it's I have Defender's advantage, I could just triple units in and keep weakening his army Puffs there. And I also seem to have won the fight in the middle also. So at this point, it's basically won. I don't think he can do anything anymore. You can see he's just summoning random minions. There's no way for him to win at this moment. If I was in this position, well, first of all, you don't want to be in this position as the opponents right now. I also push my advantage a bit just to disrupt his healers a bit because those white mages are really slow. You should be using blue swan instead. But if I was in his position, right now it's pretty much a lost cause against anyone who's good. But just in case they make a mistake, I would think you want to first of all clean the slate with a bunch of bomb types. Try to bomb and trap your opponents. You want to send stuff to the left and right crystals to clean up those siege units. So he's sending some stuff right now, but you want to send something a bit less costly. So like 2 puffs is what, 60 points worth? That's a lot to clean up a crystal, so you better be doing something with those puffs. And sending them to the crystals on the edge isn't really doing anything. It's not going to destroy my army, it's not going to break crystals any faster, you know, it's not going to really help that much, other than tax the micro of your opponent a bit. But anyways, yeah, it's pretty lost cause. You gotta clean the slate somehow with bombs, maybe even 4 charged Hildebrands can turn the tide of a battle. Something to flip the tables in your favor. But it's a pretty lost cause at this moment if I was an opponent. So anyways, let's move on to the next game. Let's take a look at another match. So again, same thing for another rank point match. I started off with same opening as earlier. Left and right siege, some cats in the middle to go for the eyes. I see that he's also using a lot of cats, although he's using them kind of differently. He's using them as main attacking units. So I switch my melee units from Hildebrand to Odin's to counter, and we should be able to clean them up pretty easily. Gotta split my army up a bit, but he also leaves the search eye open, so I get a huge tactical advantage here. He tries to protect them with something, but his units are a bit too slow. This player though does know how to repair his structures. At least most players I get do not know that if you put a minion on top of a structure, that it repairs faster. So he's repairing his structures. So at least he's got that going for him. But right now I feel like I have the advantage. I have the better army, the better abilities. and more control of the field at the moment. So 2 sets of abilities there to clean up his succubus army really fast. And now I'm starting to specialize my army to get Louisoix to further my lead. He has an army of Puff of Darknesses here. I'm worried about the Puff's limit break, so I try to snipe out one of the 4 real quick. So you can see I kind of skimmed the edges there to make sure I'm always close to that one. It's really hard to micro to snipe one particular unit. There's really no targeting in here, but with good positioning you can sometimes get it to work right. It's kind of random though. Anyways, I see him sending another group of cats, so I use my Odin army to clean up, and I also see an opportunity to try to snipe his eye. I think he also might be going for my eye, but he might also just be running away from my Odins. And I think right here his micro is occupied, so he's trying to take care of my cats up there. So I let him do that so I could take care of the cats down here. You know, it's more valuable, these units over here, because they're so close to my structures. Me killing them is better than him killing, I guess, 3 cats up there. Because he just had more down here. So I kind of let my Odins get sacrificed there. I don't really need them anymore. I need to replace my army. But I also see an opportunity that he has some cats being sent to the left, so might as well use the rest of these Odins instead of sacking them to the Hierophants. I'm also not too worried right now about him being at my crystals. He doesn't really have any siege units there, so it's going to take a while before my crystals get hurt. So clean up some of his units with my useless Odins now, like just weak Odins, and I get some free damage off in the army in the middle because I can heal halfway through. And now it's a part where macro comes into play. So you'll see me starting to swap out some of my units. So first of all, I need to replace my left and right siege ones because they got cleaned up a bit. I also remove some of my weaker units as I'm going to take out a Search Eye again. So I'm starting to replace my units with Hildebrands and Nutkins, because I see him with a lot of Puppet type units. The cats I'm not too afraid of. The cats, they're scary in a huge clump with a lot of limit breaks, but 3 at a time or them trickling in, they're pretty easy to take care of. So I can split my army a bit and take care of some of them. But yeah, right now I'm in a pretty good spot. It's really hard for him to come back from this. Like if I was on the opponent's side, I would be kind of scratching my head on as to how I let it get to this point and what I could do. Again, the go-to would be traps and bomb types, like a lot of bomb types to try to reset the playing field so that you could rebuild your army up again. Either that or get a whole bunch of really powerful like things like Hildebrands that are charged up, but you're kind of stretched on time here because I've damaged the crystal so much already. If you wait for an army to charge, it's kind of too late. So I mean, just doing a bit of cleanup on the left and right. Gonna clean up the middle again too. And at this point, I feel like the game is won. I'm not really afraid of his cats or anything. I feel like I have pretty good control. So I mean, we can pretty much move on to the next game. So this time I'll show off a full match. Another tournament match with 120 briefing, so 120 supply to summon instead of 60 in the beginning. And this time I'm going to use a Riku focus strat with Riku and bombs, I guess. So let's see how it goes. So how I start kind of depends on what kind of strategy I want to play. I feel like usually in these 120 tournaments, people summon a very big swarm, so I like to start off with some bombs and traps to kind of clean it up a bit. The opponent has kind of stationed in the middle with a bunch of dogs, so I kind of summon some Fenrirs to counter. And there's no rush here, so I can wait a bit until my bombs charge up. I send my Hildebrand to the top right to take care of some of the minions he's sending over there. And now I engage the middle. Well, if my bombs charged, I could easily trigger and destroy most of his army. Unfortunately, Rikus are very, very, very weak. They're kind of like pieces of glass. So while they're really good, I lose one Riku there. You gotta be really careful with them. But no matter, I cleaned up most of the big army, and now I just need to clean up the right side. So I summoned another Riku to replace, and I'm about to switch into something like Fenrir Airship, which go pretty good together. Airships are very strong. It's just that they cost quite a bit. 25 is pretty expensive. They do have a lot of defense though. So I'll set up a new trap in the middle, and I retreat because one of my Rikus are getting weak. They are like very, very weak. And some of my Fenrirs are taking care of his cats. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a group of 4. I trigger another trap, and I also sent a single cat to destroy Search. You know, you got to do a lot of these multitasking things. Try to attack everything at once. People have to, you know, kind of spread out and micro in order to defend. So right now I don't really have 4 of anything. So I'm gonna try to desummon some of my minions so that I could summon some more airships to get a set of 4. I also bring my healed up Rikus back out and, you know, set up some more traps. And then the opponent is pretty good at splitting up, attacking left and right. So I split up my army too, sent some Fenrirs to the right, the other man to the left. So now that I feel like middle is secured, my airship has been fully charged, I could go pick some fights here. Use the airship ability. Now Fenrirs are also very weak, they're kind of like glass also. So you gotta kind of watch them, they kind of suck at attacking anything. Very low defense. Anyways, the opponent walks into my trap in the middle that I've set up, and I retreat again with my Rikus that get weak. So every time, you know, they soak some damage, I try to bring them back. So I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot here. Another trap goes off, but I'm basically in a pretty dominant position right now. There's really not much the opponent can do. I mean, if I was in my opponent's shoes, I would try to summon something like bombs or something to try to clean the slate a bit. The opponent should also put more siege units on my left and right flank. You see how I'm always sending something to the left and right flank, just so that, you know, they're forced to take care of it. Anyways, at this point my army is pretty strong. So it's like, I mean, you could try to break through, but with traps in the back, it's really hard. After using my traps, I also send my Rikus to try to take out the Search Eye. I mean, I don't need to at this point, but it's just being safe. And also make sure to continuously use my abilities of my minions. And Rikus have another trap up after they came in, and of course gonna need to probably heal up a bit too. So I see that he sent some more airships. The airships are pretty strong. So I actually sent my whole army back. So of course I'm casting this after effect. I can't play and cast at the same time. But I forget this match was a long time ago. So it seems like I sent my whole army back to heal. Which, I mean, normally you don't want to do this. You just want to desummon and resummon a weakened minion to save time. But if you want to keep the minion's abilities, like I do right now, because all my abilities are charged, then, you know, it's a good idea. I probably didn't even need to do it. I probably could have just won just by sitting in the middle, but, you know, just to be safe, I cleaned up some of his units. And now, I mean, I don't really care about my left side anymore. I just need to take out his last 2 crystals. They're very low health. And if I could lure him into the trap a tiny bit, which I'm trying to do here, probably just finish him off. So I'll use my abilities, and it's a pretty clean slate there. Not much else you could do. Retreat my Rikus again because one is getting weak. By the time they heal up, they will have another trap up. So the strategy takes quite a bit of micro to pull off. You have to really baby your Rikus, and if you end up having one die, you gotta like replace it, and you know, you could end up behind really fast if you end up messing up. But it's really strong if played correctly. Some ways to deal with it if you're on the opponent's side is to use Mammoth 001 to disable traps, so I like to use that a lot against trap users. Another way is counter Rikus, try to Riku better than them. Good positional play also helps, try to avoid their traps and try to spread out a bit. Or use, small groups of strong units to try to snipe the Rikus, or just use like cats or something and limit break them, a single Riku down. Another way is Neuro. Neuro is a good way to counter Riku. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.